Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome to the 4,000 subscriber Q&A. We did it. We finally hit 4,000 subscribers, which is crazy considering that at this time last year I was only at 1,000. So thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate it. But yeah, we've got a lot of questions to go through. So the way this video is going to work is it's going to be divided into two sections, because there were a metric crap ton of Paladins questions on my Q&A announcement video. So we're basically going to divide the video in half. The first section is going to be for all the normal questions that you guys asked, although some of them can't really be classified as normal. And then the back half is going to be for the Paladin-specific questions. So I will leave a timestamp in the comment section down below, and also should be flashing on the screen right now. If you want to go look at the Paladins questions and don't really care about the other ones, although you should stay tuned for the entire video, because, yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of fun questions to go through. So, yeah, without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so let's start things off with a fairly simple question. What is your favorite pizza? And honestly, I don't really care as long as it doesn't have pineapple on it. Alright, we've got three questions here. First one, how old are you? I am 18 with a majestic beard that makes me look much older than I actually am. Do you love Paladins? Yes, I do. I do love the game. It does have a lot of flaws, but I do care about the game. I wish the best for it, and obviously my entire channel is based around it, so that kind of has an influence too. And why don't you play healer? I do play healer, and I could play healer well. I just don't particularly enjoy it as much as other classes. I like getting kills and fragging out, and I feel like it's a bit more fun than just sitting in the back and making sure my teammates can stay alive and do all that for me. Have you played any competitive card games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Hearthstone, or Magic, or at least ever thought about it? Not really. The closest thing I've ever played to a competitive card game is Clash Royale. I don't really, or I guess technically Paladins is a card game, if you think about it from a certain point of view, with the loadout cards, so, yeah, that's about the closest I've ever reached that genre. I don't play that at all, so no. Favorite shows? Honestly, I don't really watch much TV at all, so not really any there. But if we're talking YouTube, then my favorite series on YouTube has to be Hermitcraft right now. Because I don't really watch that many Paladins creators, but I do watch Hermitcraft, and I do enjoy that series. Alright, so we've got three beard-related questions here, so I figure I'll answer them all relatively at the same time. Are you ever going to shave your majestic beard? No, never, nope, nope, no, not making that mistake ever again. What do you do to have such an amazing beard? I grow it. That's all. Do you intend to grow your beard more after you'll be 20? Well, that's like a year and a half away, so I don't know, but I do plan on keeping the beard. I don't know how big I want the beard to grow. As far as the short term is concerned, my razor is broken and I can't go out to the shop to buy a new one, so it'll just keep growing until I can get a razor and then I can trim it. But other than that, yeah, the beard is definitely staying. Did you open this YouTube channel for fun or to be a content creator? Yes, all of the above. I did open it for fun because I decided, you know, making videos is fun, playing video games is fun, so why not put both of them together and do it for YouTube? And, well, content creation in general is fun, and I was actually inspired by a few different content creators. The main one was Sunday. He's a Minecraft YouTuber, or at least he was at the time. He's more of a general YouTuber slash Fortnite YouTuber now, but yeah, I was inspired by his Minecraft videos back in the day, so a lot of my videos were Minecraft in the early days. They weren't the highest quality, but I was certainly trying my best, and we've come a long way since then, so yeah, but I still enjoy doing YouTube, and I still enjoy being a content creator, so yeah, both of those answers. How did you come up with your name? Well, a human person answered that perfectly. He's secretly 5 chickens with a human mask on. It's simple, really. Now, for real though, I was about 12, and I needed a Minecraft username, and I was also watching a lot of Stampy Cat at the time, so I decided, let's follow his name, kind of, and just throw a random Minecraft animal at the end of my name. So I decided on Chicken, I guess, because it sounds good. You know, AndrewChicken kind of rolls off the tongue. And at the time, I also added an 888 at the end of it, because I figured, let's, you know, take my favorite number, tack it on the end 3 times, that works. Although eventually I took that off for YouTube, because that doesn't really flow off the tongue as well. So, yeah, I just, you know, made it AndrewChicken, and the name stuck, I guess. So, yeah. When is the new guide video, and why isn't it about Pip? Alright, Alright, so we've got 2 questions along the similar vein. Are you going to try other games since Paladins is kind of dead? And if Paladins ever slowly dies and your content barely gets any views, do you plan on making content for another game, and what would that be? Well, I have tried other games. I've played Minecraft on the channel. I played... Oh gosh, I don't want to talk about that Colonel Sanders dating simulator, but I have played Minecraft on the channel, and it hasn't really gotten as many views as Paladins. I would play Warframe, but it seems like nobody wants me to play that, so I don't really know what other games I'd play. But I would definitely try and find something if Paladins dies. It's currently not dead, and it's currently not dying, so we're not going to be changing up games too much anytime soon. If Paladins does die, which I don't see happening for the foreseeable future, then yeah, I will definitely try and play other games. But for now, I will keep up the Paladins content. Do you have a girlfriend? Yes, and she's great. When will you and Rima get married?
Excuse me, what?
Is Paladins content creation your job, or is it just a hobby? Well, it's always been a hobby. I mean, I do get monetized, and I do make money off this, but it's hardly enough to, like, it's not enough to be considered a job, like, not a sustainable one anyways. So, I mean, it really just gives me money to buy skins, I guess. But other than that, no, it's not a job. And then, if it is your job, what did you want to do as for a career? Which is a similar question to this one, which is, if you aren't a YouTuber, then what would you be? Also, congrats on 4K. Well, I'm about to head off to college to become a game developer is my plan. I want to program video games and kind of enter that sort of realm, so not too far off from YouTube, and just instead of, you know, making content for video games on YouTube, I'll be making content for games that'll actually be video games. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Where do you see yourself in the near future? Are you planning on continuing to post content to YouTube, or are you having any other plans in mind? Well, like I said before, I'm planning to go to college to become a game developer, you know, learn computer science and all that jazz, and I'll try and post content to YouTube regularly while I'm there. I don't know how feasible that will be, but I do plan on posting content on YouTube as long as I can, because it's fun and I enjoy it. So, yeah, YouTube's not going anywhere, and I will be going to college eventually. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Does Lightning McQueen use life insurance or car insurance? Well, theoretically, he lives in a world where there are no people, there are only cars. So if there were insurers in the Cars universe, then car insurance would be life insurance. They'd both be the exact same type of insurance, and it would be branded as life insurance rather than car insurance. So I think the answer to your question is life insurance. Does the submarine swim? Submarines submerge themselves by creating a negative buoyancy, which is opposite the positive buoyancy that boats have to keep them afloat. They manage this by having multiple tanks which can either fill or deplete themselves of water, and the more water that is inside the tank, the deeper the submarine goes. Then it can get propelled by a variety of different engines ranging from diesel to electric to nuclear, with the nuclear one being one of the most efficient and the one that military submarines use. Nuclear submarines can be risky though if they are damaged in an attack or the reactor is mishandled, which can lead to radioactive exposure and injury. If you took the world in your hands and remodeled it into a true utopia considering balance among all life, what would be your envision? Well, I'd imagine a rather scientific, technological society where we have clean energy, of course, like pretty much everything is powered by clean energy, be it solar or nuclear is also a pretty good option, so basically nothing that leaves a massive carbon footprint, and robots would perform all the menial work, so like pretty much everything that can be automated would be automated. So, like, your typical, I don't know, your grocery clerk would be a robot. I don't know, your manufacturing jobs, all those would be robots. So basically people would be able to spend their time creating art or being engineers, you know, because we still need people to design things. So you'd have people designing things, you'd have people researching things, you'd still have doctors, but they would be aided by robots. And yeah, basically all the important jobs that still require humans, that's basically how everyone would work. And if you didn't do one of those jobs, then you would just kind of chill with the robots. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really know because, well, I mean, there's no real perfect utopia. One man's utopia is another man's nightmare. So, yeah, it's a pretty subjective question, I'd say, and it would probably be best answered by someone smarter than me. If you want to change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Besides increasing in size a certain portion of the body, I would make myself less lazy, because honestly that's the biggest problem for me regarding a lot of things. Even YouTube sometimes. I get lazy with YouTube. I get lazy with all sorts of things, and it's really bad. So if I could fix that somehow, I would. Alright, and on to the Paladins questions. Who is the best waifu in Palabugs, and why is it Beric? Well, I'd say the best waifu in Palabugs has to... they have red hair. They thick, though. They're really thick. They're really fun to play. They're really, really, really strong in-game as far as their kit goes. And obviously, of course, I mean, there's only one answer, really. I'm talking about one certain champion in particular that is really, really, really good looking. They have some really good skins as well. And, of course, it is... Cassie. What is your favorite skin in Paladins? And if it isn't a BK skin, what is your favorite Bomb King skin? Honestly, I don't have one favorite skin in particular. I have a lot of favorite skins for a lot of different champions, but I'm not sure if any one skin can reign over them all. A few of my favorite skins are Americon, Steelforge, Beric, and Cuddly Makoa. And as far as BK goes, my favorite skin for him is Biz King, because it's one of the first skins I ever got, and it's a really unique concept for him, which I really enjoy. Do you like getting solo ulted? Would you say that Jolt is a good card for Bomb King? I mean, I have that card maxed out in mind. Well, it depends on the enemy comp, first of all, and second of all, the map you're on. The map has to have, of course, a ledge that you can knock people off of, because that's where it's most effective, you know, when you can kill someone with environmental damage. And it also has to have, on the enemy team, champions that are easily knocked back. So, like, enemies that really don't have that many movement abilities, or their movement abilities are limited. So, like, Khan, he's a good one. Tyra, Strix, they're all good because they have no movement abilities. Genos is actually pretty good if he doesn't have a whole lot of air control in his loadout. And enemies that you want to kind of avoid doing that against are Maeve, Eevee, all the mobile ones, because they can easily, you know, avoid your knockback if you try and knock them off the edge, or if you do manage to knock them away, they can still come back after they go flying. So, yeah, it's very situational. If you can change one thing about Paladins, what would it be? Not including bugs. I would bring back old Torvald. Just the way he was released, bring that back, because I want to play it again, and it would be much more fun than Torvald in his current state, which is just a shield spot thing that just doesn't do much, and he sucks. Do you think Hi-Rez will ever give proper attention to the game? What do you mean by proper attention, though? Because they are definitely giving the game attention. Like, they're fixing bugs, they're adding content, they're still, you know, carrying on just as they normally do. And recently, besides all the server delay, which they're still, I think, working out with all the new servers and whatnot, I haven't seen too many bugs, especially on the PTS. The PTS feels really, really nice, and if they ship it to the normal game with relatively few bugs, I mean, I'd say they're doing a good job. But of course, if there are a slew of bugs somehow that didn't show up on the PTS but show up in live, then that is a bit of a problem, and I'd say they should address that a little bit more and maybe add more people to the team, because, you know, consistently shipping updates that have bugs is a bit of a problem. Which champion's ult is the most annoying for you? If you could be a Paladins champion, who would you be and why? I'd be Beric, because Beric is awesome. Do I need to elaborate any further? If you could add any skin concept-wise, then what would it be? Well, I got a few ideas. First of all, Cowboy Androxus. It makes sense. He's already an outlaw, he's already a criminal, being chased after by Lex, and he's already got a 6-shooter or a revolver. Like, it makes perfect sense to me, so I don't know why they didn't do that with the Cowboy update, to be perfectly honest. I would also add either Lumberjack or Zombie Terminus, because both of them kind of make sense. You know, Zombie with the whole reanimating from the dead type thing, and then, of course, Lumberjack, because he's got a giant axe, and he's big and burly. Like, it makes sense to me. And then the last one, which we thought of fairly recently on my Discord server, was a Leprechaun Beric, which would be really freaking cool. He's already Irish, he's already a dwarf. Why not give him a leprechaun skin? It would make so much sense. Just throw all the Irish stereotypes on him, because it'd be fun. Okay then, say you're playing Furia after the new update. Your Wrath just got up to max, and there's currently a Maeve, Eevee, and a Genos determined to solo ult you. Eevee is at full health and close to you, but has her back turned. Maeve is at 75% health and is fairly close, but just got stunned by your beam and is out of cooldowns. And Genos is at 45% health and has just seen you stun Maeve. There's currently an 80% chance that at least one of them has their ult. Your only item so far is Morale Boost, and your only ability left is Wings of Wrath. What do you do? Well, I think the best course of action is to take out the biggest threat, which is Maeve. She just got stunned, but she still is the only one that can really kill me, because Evie has her back turned, and if I threw my beam out, then she already would have heard me, and if she was paying any attention to me at all, she would have turned to look at me. But because she heard the beam go off and hit Maeve, and she didn't turn to look at me, that means she was distracted by something else. So Evie is pretty much a non-threat in my eyes, or at least she'll only become a threat after Maeve is dead. And because Maeve got stunned, she's taking damage from the beam, and I can burst her down pretty easily with the Wrath, because even at full Wrath, in the new update, like, it still does the same amount of damage as this update, it's just that it's harder to maintain the Wrath. So while I have my limited full Wrath bar, I would burst down Maeve. And if she got healed by Genos, then, I would still try and kill her as best as possible. Then when she's dead, I would take out Genos, because he can't really solo ult me. Like, I'd still be able to walk out of that, you know. I'm Furia. It's hard to solo ult a Furia with Genos. And if Evie comes around to try and help Maeve, and, you know, she finally pays attention to me, then I'd probably just die. Is there a way to cancel emotes before it finishes? I use it to peek around corners, but I get flanked on and can't shoot for like a few seconds. Yes, there is a way to cancel emotes. All you have to do is move or shoot or literally do anything, but the problem is there is a timeout on the emote. I think it's like 2 seconds or something like that, where you can't cancel the emote and you have to let the emote play through. So you gotta be careful when you use it. And the reason they implemented that was because people like you would use them to peek corners, but then they could just cancel it like immediately after they peek the corner. So yeah, be careful when you use that, but there is a way to cancel it. Who is your favorite Paladins champion by lore, and your most hated champion by lore? Well, I hate everything about Leon. She can go die in a hole for all I care. But my favorite Paladins champion by lore is probably Buck, because he's pretty much interactive with most people in the Paladins universe, and he has some really interesting lore. You know, he was part of a magistrate, he became a monk, then he went to go fight for the resistance. Like, he's been through a lot. He's a really fascinating character, so I do like him. Which champion is the coolest in your opinion? Not the best, but the coolest looking and coolest by lore and abilities. Well, if we're talking by coolest looking, then Barrack. If we're talking coolest by lore, then Buck. And if we're talking coolest by abilities, then Bomb King. What do you think of Corvus and his abilities? On a side note, did the developers really have to make a pun out of the pandemic by naming the new healer Corvus? Well, I don't think they tried to make a pun out of the pandemic. I think his name was decided before this whole pandemic arose. As far as his abilities go, I really enjoy playing Corvus. He is a metric crap ton of fun to play. There are only really 2 problems. The first one is his ultimate. It either doesn't do enough damage quickly enough, or it's too easy to escape his ultimate, so the damage doesn't apply. Either way, his ult is pretty underwhelming. So if they fix either of those issues with the ult, either making it damage more or making it harder to get out of, that would make it a bit more potent. And also, his healing numbers could be a tiny bit higher. I feel like his healing isn't the greatest, especially when you compare him to Furia or Ceres or literally any other good healer. So yeah, but other than that, he is just so much fun. How to draft nowadays on Paladins? Well, it kind of depends on the map you're playing on, if you're playing in ranked. If you're on a good sniper map, then banning a sniper like Strix or Kinessa can be helpful, especially on high elos. Otherwise, I know a lot of the good bans right now are BK, Furia, Genos, good tanks like Khan and Barrack, and really annoying flanks if you happen to come across any. Alright, so this is a massive paragraph, which basically boils down to a few questions. The first of which being, how do you improve your game sense and awareness in Paladins? And really the only thing I can say to help you with that is to practice the champions that you like the most, practice playing Paladins, and the more that you play the game, the better your game sense will be. And also, there are a few things you can do which will improve that and make your game sense building faster, such as wearing surround sound headphones, which make, you know, it's so you can hear people behind you or to their sides or whatever. And you also asked about how you know how to use an ability right when the cooldown is over. That also comes from practice. Like, after playing enough hours of BK or Barrack, I've just gotten used to it. Like, that I don't really know what else to say other than I've literally just gotten used to it. Like, it's sort of just inbuilt now. Like, I always know when my Poppy Bomb is available. And also, you can sort of do micro flicks with your eyes where you're like, for a split second, look down at your abilities or your health bar or whatever to, you know, make sure that everything there is okay. But yeah, your second question, how do I get rid of the habit of playing frontline or support like a flank or a damage? Well, with some front lines like Fernando or Khan, you kind of are supposed to play them as a flank or a damage. So if you're playing as an off tank, that's actually encouraged to play them like a flank or a damage because you're meant to be fragging out and being a nuisance. As far as playing support, again, if you're playing as an off healer and you know you're allowed to go flank and damage, then by all means go for it. But if you're a solo healer and you want to get out of the habit of playing them like a flank or a damage. What I can suggest is pretend that your teammates are your enemies. Pretend that those are the guys that you need to shoot, right? So make sure that you're looking at those guys, especially with like Rock or Pip where you actually do have to shoot them to heal them. Pretend that those are your enemies, and then stay behind them and just use your abilities on them. Spam your abilities on your allies. And your last question, also, can you make a video about drafting and banning in ranked games, like what champions are good in what maps? Maybe. What is the most overpowered champion in your opinion, and why? Well, I'm sure a lot of people expect me to say Leon here, but I'm not going to. Who I'm actually going to say is Cassie, because she is nuts recently. Every Cassie I go against absolutely shreds me. And the reason for this is because she can burst down pretty much any champion in a matter of, like, 2 seconds. With her blast shot combo and, you know, just another random shot, she can pretty much kill any flank. Like, she can kill Maeve super duper quickly, she can kill a damaged champion super duper quickly. She has a knockback, which works pretty well, and it basically guarantees her a free shot on the enemy if she does it right. And if she goes against a tank, like Rom, she can just use Big Game and absolutely decimate them. Like, I've held my own against Rom and actually won with Big Game, with Cassie, which you can't really hold your own against Rom with any other damage champion, really, without, like, some serious skill or a really bad Rom. So, with that in mind, and the fact that she bursts everything. She bursts everything. She's dumb. She needs a nerf. What is your 3 worst characters in Paladins, and why? Well, my worst tank right now is Atlas, because I don't play him enough to be good at him, and the reason I don't play him a lot is because I hate all the lockout and how slow his kit is. For me, like, his kit just doesn't really flow well, which is why I don't like playing him. My worst flank champion that I don't play the most, probably... I mean, I don't play a lot of Koga, I really don't play him, but I also don't play a lot of Moji, so those two are definitely my worst flanks as far as playtime goes and as far as my experience with him. And my worst healer is Io. I don't like Io. I really don't. I don't like healing with her. If you were to make a new champion in Paladins, what would they be like? Well, they'd be a support champion, and they'd be similar to Grendel from Warframe. His first ability, his weapon, would basically be like a magical cannon. Like, picture Makoa's cannon, but make it a faster fire rate, deal less damage, and make it magical. That would basically be his primary fire. Then his healing ability, his main healing ability, would be to stomp the ground, and then 3 waves of healing would just emanate out from him. So it'd be a massive area heal, kind of like Grover's Blossom, but it wouldn't have a passive heal. And it would just be 3 big waves of healing. Each one does more healing than the last. So I think the final wave would do like 800, then the second wave would be like 500, and the first wave would be 300, something like that. It'd be a pretty powerful group healing ability. Then his movement ability, he would roll up into a ball and roll around, kind of like the old Davy Jones locker from Makoa, where he would just shell spin everywhere, except it would have a finite duration of like 5 seconds or something. And his ultimate, this would be pretty dumb. It'd be really, really, really silly. But you would just eat, like, you'd just basically just point it at a group of enemies, and you would eat them all. And if they were below 600 health, they would just be consumed, and they would die. If they were above 600 health, he'd spit them out right at his feet, and they'd be slowed for 2 seconds, and your team would be able to hopefully finish them off. It'd be... I don't know how good that ult would be. It would probably be either really overpowered, really underpowered, or somewhere in between. But, yeah, that'd be a silly champion idea. What obscure and weird feature would you like to see in the game? Not normal requests like fixed bugs or better matchmaking. After a match on every single player, you can see a number of options such as add friend, give a gift for some reason, report them. I would like a new option where I could click on their profile and see what rank they are, what level they are, and just a few other basic things about their account that would really help me know, like, who is on my team? Was I paired up with golds? Was I paired up with diamonds? Why did I lose? Why did I win? You know, just being able to see some basic things about a person's account and not having to go to an external site for that would be really nice. It'd be a really helpful feature. Anyways, that is the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for sending me all your questions. There were a ton of questions to answer. I mean, this video went past 20 minutes, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your questions. Thank you so much for sticking with me and helping me get to 4,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you all for your support. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and also join the Discord server down in the description. And I will see you all next time. Peace out.